What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I've got another new 2023 release, and I apologize that it's taken so long to discuss this one. I'm recording this right after a Steeler video. It's going to come out probably a week or two after the Steeler video, but I watched 58 movies in October. I think 52 of them being first-time watches for me. So I've been watching a lot of horror and a lot of brand new horror. And I had a list of things I wanted to review, and I was getting on a roll and I fell behind. And so nonetheless, I watched this movie about 3.5 weeks ago, so details are going to be a little more foggy and a lot more vague than they usually are in this video. But I wanted to review one that I really enjoyed from 2023, and that is called Totally Killer. That is Amazon Prime's latest kind of teen angst time travel style film. Totally Killer, again, right now is currently on Amazon Prime. I think it's free with any subscription to watch. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it falls right in the vein of that Happy Death Day 1 and 2, Freaky. There's another one that I just watched recently that it falls right in the same vein with, called It's a Wonderful Knife, that's coming out pretty soon as well, that I reviewed on pophorror.com, so go check that out. But if you like movies like Happy Death Day 1 and 2 and Freaky, I think you're going to like this one. This movie I look at as Scream meets Back to the Future, and it very much is a meta reference of itself, and it talks about Back to the Future in the movie. This film was written by David Madeline, Sasha Pearl Rover, and Jen D'Angelo. Directed by Nahnatchka Khan, I'm sorry if I butchered that. Starring Kiernan Shipka as Jamie and Olivia Holt as Pam. You'll know Kiernan Shipka from Mad Men and Sabrina, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina from Netflix, for the fans of that out there. Olivia Holt, I most recognize from Cruel Summer. I think it was season 1. She was Katie Wells in season 1 of Cruel Summer. So a couple of budding young stars in this movie. And basically the premise, without spoiling it, I'll be doing this spoiler free. It just came out about a month ago. Basically, the character of Jamie has to go back in time because they're on about the anniversary of her mother's friend's death. When a bunch of her mother's friends, turned 16 in the 80s, the serial killer came and killed these people, and her mother was the last one left in her friend group. And there's a killer now that kills her mother. You see it in the trailer. It's right at the beginning of the film. Her mother gets killed at the beginning, so she realizes she has a vessel to go back in time to not only stop her mother's death, but stop her mother's friend's death and kind of stop this killer before they ever exist in modern day, going back in time to the 80s and stopping this killer. So you've got a time travel slasher with a lot of teenage angst and a lot of in-jokes in the vein of that Back to the Future thing, which they mentioned in the movie. And it's very Scream-like. It's very meta. It's very figured out who the killer is. Fun stuff like that. So if you like those kind of movies, I think you're going to like this one. The first thing I wrote down is dialogue is a big plus. I enjoy the dialogue. A lot of the jokes are very obvious. They do a lot of time travel jokes where the newer millennial kid goes back in time to Gen X and makes jokes about how the time is different now. There's some jokes about smoking in cars and leaving your kids unattended at parties, and weed being worse in the 80s than it is in the 2020s and stuff like that. It's very comparative from the 80s time to the things we do in the 2020s. So a lot of those jokes are kind of basic. They're kind of easy layups, right? Low-hanging fruit. But I enjoy those jokes. I think they're done in a funny way. I enjoy the delivery. I think the two main actors especially, but mostly the entire cast, is very solid and funny. There's one character that's just a mom that's like a hippie who's looking to party. So a bunch of kind of stereotypes from the 80s to now and how times have changed. But I think it's done in a good way. The jokes are funny and the dialogue overall is very well written. Pacing in this film is solid. The movie runs an hour and 46. Basically, it's about an hour and 42 with credits. Lots of credits in this one. But I think that the hour and 42 is nice. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It gives you time with the characters so you know who your main characters are. And I think it's paced pretty well. They spend some time setting things up, but when it gets going pretty fast. So I really enjoyed that overall. There are a couple of minor pacing issues where I feel like we spend a lot of time in the middle building things still, and then the ending comes kind of fast where it just kind of hits you all at once, and you're kind of like, oh, that killer reveal was kind of quick. Oh, the final confrontation was kind of quick. Oh, the killer was kind of, the resolution was kind of done kind of quick. Everything was kind of like revealed final battle commences and all the Revelation stuff comes out all at the same time, and you're like, oh, that was really fast. For how much time we spent on the build-up, they did the reveal quickly. So there are some pacing issues in the final maybe 20 minutes of this, but other than that, I thought it was paced very well. Young and old connection. I liked kind of seeing some of the modern 2020s version of the characters versus the 80s version of the characters back when they were kids. It's always funny seeing the main character find kind of her parents back in the day, like we saw in Back to the Future with Marty McFly and his mom, kind of all those weird revelations that come with the modern characters meeting the older characters. So I like a lot of that. And finally, I'd say meta. I really enjoyed the meta aspects again. We know about what Scream did in the 90s to kind of poke fun at the fact that it's a movie. We've seen this done a lot in Freaky and Happy Death Day, and it's done a lot here. I like that it's self-referential, and I like that it kind of like hits you in the head with the fact that it's a movie and knows what it's doing, but also doesn't do it too much. So it's a nice beat there. As far as some negatives, I do think with us having Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You and Freaky, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other ones that I've forgotten. It's a Wonderful Knife that just came out right after this as well. We're seeing a lot of time travel, kids go back and forth and reference themselves, and we're seeing a lot of let's take a classic like drama comedy and make it into a horror comedy. So we're seeing a lot of source material being changed in genres and turned into a horror comedy, to kind of genre blending and kind of doing the same story in a horror background. So those tropes are being done a lot. That being said, they will get tired for some people. For me, I enjoy those movies. I have not found one yet that I haven't liked. I've liked all of those movies, even though it is kind of long in the tooth. They're kind of doing a lot of them now. I always find them fun. So for me, I love it. It's not going to be for everyone. If you've seen one of them, you've kind of seen them all to some degree. But I think this one is really well written and well directed overall. I look forward to seeing what Nahnatchka Khan can do more of, because I've only seen her name so far in television credits. A lot of good TV episodes, but no movies. So for her directorial film debut, I think this one is very solid. And the three writers did a nice job making this feel upbeat and fun without being like overly silly, considering its concept. Final negative, the killer reveal. Like I said, it's a little clunky. Once you figure out who the killer is, I kind of guessed it about halfway through. It was kind of obvious to me. That said, not everyone's going to get it, but I do think how they resolve some things and kind of some of the reasoning behind what they resolved feels a little bit like, that's a little clunky, it was done a little weird, it's a little bit forced. So it's not the best reveal in the world, but it does make sense for the most part. And like I said, that last 20 minutes of pacing does kind of jam a lot in there and kind of make you go, oh, they kind of rushed that a little bit. I wish they would have taken 10 or 20 extra minutes either on that or pushed it up 10 or 20 minutes and given us more time for the evolution of the film. But I think getting there was a fun time. You care about the characters. The reveal makes sense even though it's clunky. And I think that the pacing for the most part is good. And once we get to the end, kind of the wrap-up of what happens, some of the things that change for the better. Some of the things in the timeline that change come out with a nice little reveal, although there's not a ton of it. So if you're looking for big wholesale changes, you're not going to get them. But once we get to what changes in the timeline, once Kiernan Shipka's character goes through her journey and Jamie comes out the other side, you get some pretty funny, satisfying changes. So all in all, I have this one in my like 5 or 6 out of 10, in my top 10, I should say, in my 2023 top 10 horror movies. This one ranks about 5 or 6. It's in my top half, I think. And I really had fun with it. Again, it's not revolutionary, especially with current day, with all of these style of films coming out. It's not going to be for everyone. It's going to be a little derivative, but I had a lot of fun watching it, and I could watch it every year if I needed to. So I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. If you've seen it down below, please tell me in the comments what you think of it. If you have not seen it, it is available right now on Amazon Prime, and I do recommend you go watch it. So tell me in the comments what you thought of this movie. Also tell me if you want me to review any other movies that have just come out recently. And please also like, share, and subscribe if you like these movie deep dive videos and you want to see more. Take care, friends. Stay scared. I hope you're dealing with the loss of October and you're not in post-seasonal depression. And I will see you all soon with more reviews, more films, more Steelers stuff, and a bunch of other content. Take care.